Welcome back to Watch the Booker Man and to episode number 71 of Paul Heyman's TNA. And we're coming into this show off the back of a huge weekend for the company. We had the Ring of Honor 9th anniversary show on the Saturday night, which featured a number of TNA wrestlers returning to that promotion, as well as Against All Odds on Sunday night. Moreover, this show is about the build to Destination X. Of course, there'll be the fallout to this past weekend, but Destination X, I'm looking to do a couple of little different things for the pay-per-view. I might end up not going through with everything I've got planned, but I do think it's going to have a unique feel, as Destination X should, because I really think it's a great time to put that spotlight on the X division. We're back in the Impact Zone as always, so let's get into Impact, and we begin with an X division match. And as the four unfamiliar competitors make their way down to the ring, the commentators explain the situation. All four of these guys are unsigned, and there will be 4 matches in the build-up to Destination X, each featuring 4 unsigned wrestlers. The winners of those 4 matches will go on to face each other at Destination X. The winner of the pay-per-view match will earn a TNA contract, but that's not all. They will also earn an X Division Championship shot at Lockdown, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the TNA calendar, and one of 16 men has the chance to win the X Division Championship at that show. In this match, it's the most familiar name, Kenny Omega, pinning Rubix following a cross-legged fisherman's buster. Jesse Sorensen the weak link, and we see there that Puma was the best performer along with Kenny Omega. 3 decent performances, and Jesse Sorensen there really to make up the numbers. After the match, Kenny Omega is joined in the ring by an interviewer. Before any questions can be asked, however, the New Age come down to the ring. They're not interested in Kenny Omega, they just want the spotlight. And speaking first, Jimmy Jacobs decides to ignore the events of Against All Odds and instead addresses the match that we just saw. Jacobs says that it's great to see these new faces battling to earn a spot in the X Division, because it's been a long time since the X Division came close to representing what it was supposedly devised to do. It was about no limits, pushing boundaries, but that's not the case anymore. Roderick Strong as the champion proves that. Speaking of Roderick Strong, Tyler Black puts over that he defeated him at the 9th anniversary show for Ring of Honor. He references the tryouts and throws a little bit of shade towards Kenny Omega before saying that he's cutting through the crap. He's out here to challenge the X Division champion to face him at Destination X. He did beat him after all. Isn't that the way things usually work? If you beat the champ, surely you're at the front of the line. Before any answer is given, however, Kurt Angle comes out, followed by wrestling's greatest tag team. The World Heavyweight Champion reminds Tyler that he seems to be forgetting something from over the weekend. He tapped out to Kurt Angle at Against All Odds, and he says that before Black looks towards any other title as a consolation prize, there's some unfinished business. Next week on Impact, Kurt Angle is challenging the New Age to face him, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas in the main event. A much anticipated clash which we've teased a couple of times already, but it will be next week. Jimmy Jacobs' New Age versus Kurt Angle's Team Angle, I suppose they used to be called. Not that name in TNA, but still the idea being of these two very, very impressive trios clashing. We then go to the back where Paul Heyman speaks to the viewers, promoting this month's Destination X pay-per-view, and he wants this show to be a celebration of the X Division. However, he's not looking for a misty-eyed, nostalgic look to the past. TNA is looking to the future of this division because he feels there is every opportunity for it to be stronger than ever. The opening match tonight was the start of that. As Paul Heyman continues to promote this, he is interrupted by Kevin Steen. Steen tells Paul Heyman that he's just heard Black's challenge to Strong a minute ago. He may have beat him at the weekend, but that was for Ring of Honor and not TNA. Steen says that he beat one of these so-called icons of the X Division at Against All Odds, so he wants the shot at Destination X. He is that future of the X Division that Heyman is talking about. Heyman sort of looks to the camera and he's done with his little promo. He's got some business to deal with. He then starts speaking with Kevin Steen as we move back towards the ringside area. Well, we move into the worst match that I've booked in this series. I'm almost certain of that. I can't remember having anything in single digits. I did expect it to be bad, but not this bad. I want Daisy Hayes to pick up a win. She squashes Santana Garrett in under 4 minutes with the mind trip. It's an abysmal match. The crowd turned off by having 2 people they don't have any investment in a match outside of the pre-show, bringing the crowd down. We've got a lot of work to do to bring them back up, but I'm willing to take the hit for Daisy Hayes to pick up a decisive victory on the first show since she turned heel and joined the New Age. Not the best start to her run, but she's joined in the ring after the match by SoCal Val and asked about her decision to join the New Age this Sunday at Against All Odds. Like the first attempted in-ring interview of the night, we can't get more than a few words into the explanation as Awesome Kong appears from the back. Kong heads straight to the ring, but she's not the quickest, and this gives time for Hayes to escape. Avoiding Kong as best she can, Hayes runs straight through the crowd and out of sight. Once in the ring, Awesome Kong stares down where Daisy Hayes went. She's getting as far away as possible from the furious Kong, and we know that this certainly isn't the end of that, and Daisy Hayes is going to have a tough job on her hands avoiding Awesome Kong for as long as she possibly can. We then get a successful interview as Larry Sweeney and the Young Bucks speak with Christy Hem about their decision to work together. Sweeney said that people have had a lot of questions, so he's queued up some footage that explains everything. The clip we see, however, shows the Young Bucks hitting a double super kick to Larry Sweeney many months ago, just before Bound for Glory it was actually, and when we return to the interview, Christy Hem isn't sure what that is supposed to explain. Larry Sweeney is laughing and she's visibly confused. He says that that was the moment that he knew the Young Bucks had it. They created a moment by kicking him in the jaw, and it may have taken them a little bit longer to realise it, but that proved to him that they had the same mindset for the business. As members of Sweet and Sour, Nick and Matt are now on the path to stardom, and that brings him to the main event of tonight's show. Roderick Strong has been desperate to get his hands on the Young Bucks ever since their so-called betrayal last month, and he'll get to do that tonight with a partner of his choosing. Sweeney says that it simply doesn't matter who Roderick Strong's partner is, because with him in their corner, as well as their inbuilt brotherly telepathy, they are now unbeatable, and you can quote Larry Sweeney on that. Before the third match of the night, a pre-recorded interview with Bryan Danielson is shown. Mike Tenay asks him about the weekend that's just passed, where he faced and defeated Christopher Daniels on Saturday and then teamed with Desmond Wolfe to beat Bad Influence again the following night. Daniels says that the most important thing coming out of those shows were the two victories, but Tenay tries to zone in on the dynamic between Danielson and Wolfe. Bryan says that once the bell rang, they seemed to click together as a tag team. Maybe it's because they know each other so well inside the ring, they knew each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, while Bryan Danielson appreciates that Desmond Wolfe still had his back after the bell. He assures Mike Tenay that any suggestion of a blossoming friendship between the two is pretty wide of the mark. We then get Desmond Wolfe versus James Storm, and it looks like Storm's going to steal the victory when Robert Roode comes out, but they don't get that far with this plan because Bryan Danielson runs down, stops Bobby Roode from getting involved, and this allows Desmond Wolfe to hit the jawbreaker lariat and pin James Storm for the 1-2-3, continuing to hint at a potential turn for Desmond Wolfe. Could there be another twist in this story? We'll find out one way or another soon. Bryan Danielson finds himself stood side by side with Desmond Wolfe once again as Beer Money head up the ramp. They are joined by Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, their fellow forefathers. Mocking Bryan Danielson, Christopher Daniels tells American Dragon to have a look at himself. Look how far he has lowered himself to be stood there rubbing shoulders with Desmond Wolfe. He suggests that if Bryan from a couple of years ago could see himself now, he'd be ashamed. Firing back, Bryan says that this isn't about him and Wolfe, it's about them. The forefathers who talk about everything they've done for this company but can't back it up in the ring without resorting to the usual tricks. Danielson says that he's beat Daniels and he's beaten Kazarian already this week, and after Desmond Wolfe just put James Storm down, he wants Robert Roode this Saturday at TNA Evolve. Continuing to get mid-card level ratings from this storyline, but I'm okay with that at the moment. We then return to the second hour of Impact with Roderick Strong's reveal of his tag team partner. Jeremy Borash stood by to get the exclusive. He says that when he was given the chance to choose his own partner for tonight, there was only one man who came to mind. Walking onto the interview set from the side, we see that Kurt Angle is that man, and he says that he may have a match to prepare for next week as he and wrestling's greatest tag team face the New Age, but he couldn't pass up on this opportunity to get in the ring with those two cocky young punks, Nick and Matt Jackson. Angle says that the Young Bucks have been going around showing off their gold medals since they won the World X Cup, but tonight they're going to be introduced to an Olympic gold medalist and the X Division champion Roderick Strong, so it's not a great segment again, mostly due to Roderick Strong being terrible without a script, but we're putting across here that Kurt Angle is not best pleased to have seen how the Young Bucks have been going on recently, having the gold medals around their neck. We could say that it's fair enough that they're proud of winning the World X Cup. With their arrogance on top of that, you can see why that may be rubbing him up the wrong way. We then get a knockouts match as Taylor Wilde defeats Madison Rayne in 9 minutes and 52 with a German suplex. Another bad result for Madison Rayne, and that's what we put over after the match. Of course, the focus is on Taylor Wilde standing tall after a victory over Madison Rayne, a former Knockouts champion beating a fellow former Knockouts champion, but we do also focus on the dejected looking Madison Rayne on the outside. She heads up the ramp, and the commentators put over her recent defeats, saying the former Knockouts champion has found herself in a bit of a rut recently, and she needs to snap out of that as soon as possible. We then come back from the break and we see that Madison Rayne has been approached by Christy Hem, and she's asking her about her recent struggles that stem from her breakup with Matt Morgan. Madison Rayne kind of flips at this. She says it's got nothing to do with that man. She was a champion before him and she'll be a champion again. She never needed a man in her life. That's what took her eye off the ball in the first place, and she vows that she never needs another man in her life again. Rayne says that she has never faced a problem that she couldn't overcome before, and this one is no different. She vows to find her solution, and she is going to find it soon. So despite the bad time that she's been having, the confidence that Madison Rayne can come out of this is still there from the Queen of the Mountain. We then get a match which is a little bit of a grudge match. They're both faces, but we know about the disdain that Jay Lethal has for Sonjay Dutt, justified after what happened between them many years ago. But we do see a very aggressive side to Jay Lethal, and despite him having justification, there is a sense that he's being a little bit heelish in this, just because he is absolutely taking the fight to Sonjay Dutt. Austin Creed's on the outside. He's likewise a little bit uncomfortable with this, and Jay Lethal debuts a submission hold in this match, making Sonjay Dutt tap out in 10 minutes and 58 to a crossface. Having showed that aggressive side during the match, Jay Lethal does take a few extra seconds than usual to release the hold after the match, showing that that animosity is certainly still there. Austin Creed enters the ring to try and speak with him, to try and calm him down, but Jay Lethal has no interest in being reasoned with. Leaving the ring, he's then approached by Maria, who again tries to calm him down. He's not having it, and he takes Maria by the arm and leads her to the back. While the commentators again sympathise with Jay's feelings towards Sonjay Dutt, they do point out that it's been a long time since the issues between them. Taz suggests that maybe with his new fiancée in his life, Jay Lethal should maybe focus on that rather than holding grudges from many years ago. We then go into the private locker room of the New Age, and Sara Del Rey speaks about her victory over Awesome Kong at Against All Odds, saying that even with Alyssa Flash and Mischief barred from ringside, she was victorious. While she was caught a little bit off guard by Daisy Hayes' appearance, she's spoken with Jimmy Jacobs, she gets it now, and she is happy to welcome her aboard. The problem now, she's beaten every single challenger in the Knockouts division. Moving on from that, the camera swings across to the other side of the room, where Jimmy Jacobs continues to put over this dominance, the dominance of the entire New Age, the same dominance that Tyler Black and the Kings of Wrestling will have over Team Angle next week. After that, Tyler will set his sights on the X Division Championship, bringing that title that represents the heart and soul of TNA to the New Age. They'll also have one eye on the X Division Champion, who's not only in action in the main event, but who they hear is facing Kevin Steen next week. Steen had his chance to join the New Age and he passed, and Tyler Black says that's his choice, it's fine, they hold no grudge, but if he thinks that he's in line for a title shot, then he's very sadly mistaken, so further putting over his desire to become the X Division Champion, as we get a video package introduced by Mauro and Taz showing footage from Ring of Honor's 9th anniversary show. It features just select clips from the show, and the commentators encourage viewers to go out and buy that pay-per-view. Ring of Honor, of course, has been on hiatus since Final Battle 2010. That was their first show, and they say that anybody who wants to see more great action from Ring of Honor should go out and support that pay-per-view, ensure that the people in charge hear them. We want to know that there is a demand for Ring of Honor and that people want to see more ROH shows. We know that not everybody who watches Impact is a Ring of Honor fan, so we want to continue to build that awareness just generally to try and help Ring of Honor in the long term. We then go into the main event, and there's a lot of cat and mouse in this. The Young Bucks just playing up the heelish side of their characters. This is their first match, I'm pretty sure, since they turned heel. Definitely the first match on Impact since the turn, so they're trying to avoid Kurt Angle and Roderick Strong. They're clearly not as good in the ring as them, so they're trying to play a lot of mind games. Nonetheless, it makes no difference as Kurt Angle and Roderick Strong, once they get their hands on the Young Bucks, are able to decisively pick up the victory. Kurt Angle destroying Nick Jackson, destroying Matt Jackson, then bringing in Roderick Strong to do the same. Strong pins Nick Jackson with a double knee gutbuster, Kurt Angle carrying the match. A decent main event. Again, I felt this was a little bit of a risk, but as always, that is negated by the fact that you can stick Kurt Angle in the ring with just about anybody and you'll put on a match that is worthy of main eventing an episode of Impact. Following the match, Kurt Angle joins Roderick Strong back in the ring. They stand tall, and that's really what this match was all about, having the X Division champion continue to rub shoulders with Kurt Angle. He's the best wrestler in the world, and essentially I'm trying to get Roderick Strong over by association with Kurt Angle. There's a little bit of a mentor-protege relationship between them, but as they stand tall, the New Age make their way out from the back. Wasting no time after the bell rings, Tyler Black and the Kings of Wrestling look to take down the two men's singles champions in the company. Angle and Strong stand their ground, but as they shape up to fight back against the New Age, Roderick Strong is dragged out of the ring by Kevin Steen, the man he will face on next week's Impact. In this distraction, Kurt Angle is jumped by the New Age, a 3-on-1 attack. Meanwhile, on the outside, Kevin Steen hits Roderick Strong with a brutal powerbomb into the guardrail. The attack in the ring continues, the World Heavyweight Champion vastly outnumbered, until Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin run down to make the save. Team Angle eventually managed to get the better of the New Age. Kurt Angle returned to his feet, Haas and Benjamin fighting off the Kings of Wrestling, and they send the three men packing to the outside. Kurt Angle is fired up and takes a microphone. The New Age have been a thorn in his side constantly for the last 5 months, as they have been for a huge portion of the TNA roster, and he tells them just as much. He's going to stop them next week. Nobody has been able to beat them in 3-on-3 competition before. That changes on Impact next week. Kurt Angle and wrestling's greatest tag team vow to be the ones to put an end to this run for the New Age. We know everything that the New Age have done over the last 5 months, and it's a decent episode. Happy with that, really. It wasn't jam-packed or a huge explosive episode to follow up the pay-per-view, but I do think we've set up quite a lot of things in the course of the night. Those new faces, and if some of them get good ratings or catch on, we can then sign them. But the idea initially is that only one person will be signed from that, continuing a lot of storylines, not really starting any new ones just yet, but we are turning focus to Destination X and a couple of big challenges stepping up for the X Division, Kevin Steen and Tyler Black. Not going to give away where that storyline's going, but certainly two really big names at least interested in that title, and that can only do good things for the division long term. I do feel we have a foundation for an excellent X Division to come through, probably something we maybe need to highlight more on TNA Evolve, something that I think initially that was the plan, but with needing high ratings for Evolve, we've kind of just turned it into a continuation of Impact. Maybe I need to work harder on making sure that that show is its own distinct thing, and we may see that on the next episode of Evolve. Now, fans happy with this episode of Impact, but we'll now go into the 9th episode of TNA Evolve. And this show begins with a promo from the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Mickie James and Tara weren't on Impact, so they didn't get the chance to celebrate and gloat about their victory, so give them the chance to do just that to open Evolve. The key takeaway is Mickie James saying that there is no doubt that Tara is on her level, which does get a little bit of a sideways glance from Tara. While it is designed to be a message of support, you can see why Tara is maybe put off by Mickie even acknowledging those ideas that the likes of the beautiful people have been putting across. And we're seeing this match, Mickie James again getting the pin, as she always seems to do in tag team matches when she's with Tara. They defeat two local talents, Amber and Becky. Becky was Becky Bayless, Cookie in TNA, a squash match for the champions. As they stand tall and celebrate, we question, are they the best knockouts tag team in the history of the company? We then get Paul Heyman joining the commentary team as they recap and analyse Against All Odds and the Ring of Honor show, and we put over that the replays for those two shows are available, and we look at some of the key talking points from the events, one of which we follow up on as AJ Styles is interviewed from his home, talking about his lack of direction after the defeat. He's pointing out how you can go from focusing on a World Heavyweight Championship match for the entire month to just 24 hours after that, or 6 days after that as it is, still not knowing what your next step is. He is, however, not taking his eye off the ball when it comes to the New Age. Samoa Joe then defeats Brutus Magnus. We've not used Magnus for quite a while. I didn't have any plans for him at the moment, so I just thought I'd bring him out here. 8 minutes and 43 isn't a bad time to last with Samoa Joe. It's certainly not a squash match, but it's a decisive victory as Joe hits the muscle buster and stands tall, following a decisive victory. He's clearly not in a good mood after his defeat to Kevin Steen at Against All Odds. We then get a little bit of a spotlight in a very good promo considering his overness and the fact that he's only just shown up, and it's just a spotlight. We're going to do one of these every week on Evolve, highlighting the winner of the four-way match from Impact, and he talks his Destination X opportunity, his goals for the future, and perhaps puts over the X Division as being perfect for his style, as we go into a recap of the issues between Bryan Danielson and the Forefathers, and we see Bryan Danielson pick up a victory over Robert Roode in 14 minutes and 32. Despite James Storm being at ringside and being ready to pounce and aid his partner, Bryan Danielson catches both men off guard, and like I said, the small package picks up a victory for him. He does a lot better than Robert Roode. The match does get the crowd buzzing, but it's only a 69, so hopefully the AJ promo gets us up to the 71 that we need, because yeah, the post-match attack isn't anything special either. The Forefathers all jump into the ring after the match, all four of them attacking Bryan Danielson, and the key thing to note here is there is no save from Desmond Wolfe, as Bryan is down on the ground at the end of the episode. The Forefathers are stood tall, and Christopher Daniels makes sure to bring attention to the fact that despite Bryan coming and saving Wolfe on Impact, the favour isn't being returned here by Desmond Wolfe. Is that the end of their association, enemies brought together against the Forefathers, or is there something more to it? Either way, we get just into the threshold that we need. That is a relief. I did think Bryan and Roode would get us a comfortable 70s rated match, maybe like 75, so I've kind of overestimated that. In the Fallout week 2 Against All Odds and the first week of build to Destination X, I think we've done a good job overall. I'm personally happy. There's plenty of seeds being planted there for what I think is going to be an excellent 4-week build to the pay-per-view, and I'm particularly looking forward to next week's show, probably one of the biggest Impact main events we've done, as the 3 male members of the New Age face Kurt Angle, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. I hope you'll be back for that episode, because I really think that is going to be one of our best Impacts yet as we continue the build to TNA Destination X.